Hi, I'm Mark Rees. I'm the Chief Technology Officer at Xero. In technology, we have engineers, data scientists, and architects, and many other teams around the world working to build the strong technical foundations for our global small business platform. But sitting on top of those foundations are the beautiful products that our customers see and use every day. And that's where design comes in. It's critically important to the work we do in technology. So I thought it might be a good idea today to talk to our Executive General Manager of Design, Emily Henlein, about the design team and the role they play in building beautiful products. So Emily, thanks for joining me today. Why don't you start by telling us a bit about yourself and your role at Xero?
Sure thing, Mark. As you've mentioned, I'm currently the Executive GM Design and Research globally here at Xero. We're a team of designers, researchers, content designers, service designers, and we've recently introduced a new accessibility team as well. It's a super exciting time for design and research at Xero. As for what I do outside of work, I do a lot of yoga, as well as teach mindfulness to elementary school kids locally. It helps keep me grounded in this high energy and high octane environment that we have here at Xero. I'm also a regular polar bear dipper and have recently gotten into distance ocean swimming. I have two girls, ages 10 and 13, and I can tell you put your seatbelt on because the tweenage and teenage years are very intense. My husband and I love to hit the karaoke scene, and we take the girls on adventures around the country until we can start to travel the world again.
Awesome. So you've been at Xero for 2 years now, and that's passed really quickly. What's the journey been like in leading the design team?
So the journey's actually been pretty surreal, if I'm honest. We had a real opportunity when I joined to do a reset of sorts and lay the right foundation from which to scale and thrive. We were tasked with hiring 100 people during the pandemic and now sit at over 150 globally, specifically in Australia, New Zealand, the US, Canada, the UK, and Singapore. And we're hiring across the entire design and research world. So we're looking, as I mentioned before, for content designers, researchers, product designers, service designers, research operations. We're really sort of scaling the whole system, as well as starting to build that accessibility space. It's a seriously fabulous group of bright, creative, passionate humans, and we're in the very fortunate position of getting to partner with folks across the entire company, from strategy to technology to product and customer. So it's a super exciting time to be here and be part of the momentum we're building.
So you touched on it then, but why do you think it's really important to get people across Xero to think about design and collaborate with your team?
So I'm a big believer of the stool concept, product design and engineering. When you are missing one of those legs, the stool literally falls down. So design can truly bring a customer lens to the problem-solving process. And we often have a bevy of tools in our toolbox to help teams collaborate, innovate, and in turn launch beautiful products. Bringing design thinking into the product process helps teams push the boundaries and potentially tackle the customer problem in a different way. And we've recently started leaning into the strategy space to provide new ways to think about where we might want to go, which you were a part of, Mark. Collaboration is one of our superpowers, and we love to step into any part of the product journey and look for ways to create a better experience.
Awesome. So it's you've grown, created a really quite a sizable team. What does it mean in terms of opportunities for designers and researchers in terms of professional growth and progressing their career and so on?
Yeah, so it's a great question, Mark, and one we've spent a lot of time thinking about. Having a career path within the design and research world is so important for our people. It's often unsettling if you're in a job, but you don't really know where you're going in it. So at Xero, we really doubled down on the professional growth process by building out what we called sort of a robust career growth framework, which focused on the individual contributor path as well as the management path. We were super deliberate in making sure folks felt clear on where they sat in the org and where they wanted to go in the org. The framework allows us to have super constructive conversations and gives managers the tools to effectively grow our people, which is critical. We've also kicked off our own internal design curriculum work stream, and this was born sort of out of during the COVID period where we weren't able to go to the universities or what have you and engage in that way. So we just were homegrown it. And this is for us to create a robust learning environment inside Xero as well. And there's more to come on that front. In terms of
Sorry.
In terms of, I'm still going. In terms of the opportunities for the team itself, I mean, where do we start, honestly? We have the luxury of working across, as I said before, the entire organization, and can really influence change through our design and research prowess, where we've really been leaning into what design means for the team and what it means for the company. And I think that's a really important and exciting time for a design world to be in. Our impact and reach is huge here, and our opportunities abound, really.
So growing so quickly is really challenging in the best of times, but particularly during COVID. I sort of wondered what role the culture of the team was playing in your ability to sort of attract talent, particularly during such a challenging time.
Yeah. So, I mean, you hit the nail on the head. The scaling was probably the most challenging thing of my entire career, if I'm honest. And our culture at Xero is so important. And, we've got the hashtag human value. And like, that's so real in our organization that navigating that while trying to hire mostly remotely meant we had to get really creative with how we helped folks land in here. And it's actually something I really love about Xero. Folks are truly a delight to work and problem solve with, even when some of our challenges require rigorous and serious debate to get to the right place. There's a kindness sort of at our core that permeates throughout the business. And, I think we're also really clear on our purpose. So to make life better to people in small business, their advisors and communities around the world, helping people who need it is a powerful purpose, and it's built into our DNA here at Xero and into the design organization. And so keeping that at the core was really important for us when we were trying to maintain the culture as we were hiring all these people. And as part of that, and something that we do now twice a year, is the Design Jam. And so the Design Jam, which is basically a hackathon, but design and research, the entire design and research team goes offline and for 2 days and basically look at future customer problems. And this year we set our sights on 2030. The output was incredible. The energy was palpable. And then the output of that also is that we get to share the ideas with people like yourself and your peers, which is such a great experience for everyone, both for those that attended, you were there, and for those that present to you guys. So it's kind of this amazing moment in time for the design and research world from a cultural perspective.
Yeah, those design jams are great. Actually, they're one of the highlights of the year.
Yeah.
So Emily, earlier in your career, you worked at some big tech companies, including Amazon, which I think you worked at Amazon where it could fit in a single building. Now it can't fit in a single city, clearly. So what lessons did you learn from that experience that you bring to Xero?
Yeah, so I had when I was at Amazon, I was part of the AWS incubator. So it was quite an interesting space to be in at Amazon at that time. But the key takeaway for me from that period was really the value of the customer. They drill it into your head. My time at Amazon was kind of like being at UX university. That's kind of how I look at it. I was young and eager and sort of like, what is this tech world? What is happening here? So, and honestly, the customer was literally at the center of everything that we did at Amazon. We were so driven by data and had so many tools to help us understand how the customers are moving through the experience that we were wicked dialed into what it meant to bring good experiences to the customer.
That's awesome. And I think that really resonates with something we focus on in terms of customer centricity as well as Xero. So
yeah,
that's excellent. So looking forward, what's the focus for your team?
So last year we wrote a vision for the design and research org to try and lay a foundation around sort of where we were headed. It was set for 2024. We probably need to revise to push it a bit further, but it was really around the pillars of quality, talent, and culture. And we spend a lot of time thinking through how we work within our world through those three lenses. We're also talking a lot about well-being, given my background in yoga and mindfulness, and helping folks really define what that means for them and the ways that Xero can support them around well-being. This is a huge one for me personally, and I'm constantly looking at ways within a workplace like ours at Xero to see where we can really dial up that well-being mindset. I think from my perspective, setting those boundaries, creating a nurturing environment where people can really find that balance or harmony, I like to think of it, it's critical, especially now when our work environments have been turned on their heads, depending on where you are in the world. Personal and work life starts to seriously blend together when your office is in your house, like my kitchen's right there. But we also need to make sure we're supporting our people. And again, like I said, setting those boundaries and then getting that healthy baseline of what does work-life harmony look like. And this is a conversation I want to continue to have within the design and research world and broader at Xero.
Yeah, I agree. I think that kind of balance is really, really important for companies like Xero, high growth companies. So it sounds like a really exciting time to join the design team.
Yeah, I mean, it is. We're well beyond the startup days now and have our purpose totally baked into how we work. So there's so much opportunity ahead. Design very much has a seat at the table. So there's a lot of momentum to drive change and really bring a customer-centric lens to the business conversations. I think within the design and research world, we can be real change agents inside Xero, and there's so much excitement building. It's a hell of a ride, to be honest.
That's great, Emily. So is your team still growing? Are you still hiring?
Yeah. So we're looking, to grow actually, again, quite a bit over the next year. And we're hiring, like I said, in the regions that we're sitting in. So Australia, New Zealand, US, Canada, UK. You can head to the jobs page on Xero's LinkedIn. We'll also share a link to this video as well. And it's just come be a part of what we're creating in here and be the change for the small business communities globally.
Awesome. Thank you, Emily, for talking to me today. That was really, really interesting. And cheers and goodbye to everyone.
Yeah, thank you so much, Mark, for having me. And goodbye.